This is going to be a quick stream going over all the best setups for Ops Mode 2024, or it's 2023 still right now, but I doubt they're going to update this game anymore. So I figured I would do one last setup video. Alright. This is for Ops Mode. I don't know the multiplayer. I don't know if it's dead or not, so we're just going to ignore that, pretend it does not exist. Alright. Now, right here, we'll start with the plants. Pea shooter. Now, this is probably the best character for Ops Mode with this setup. It's my favorite one for sure, which is, you can tell because it's one of the ones I have max level. But the main perk you're gonna need to use is Reload Gatling, which I don't know, like, it's only 2 points for how good this is in Op Mode. Like, you could literally, even if your team is completely clueless, brain-dead morons, you can still solo the Yeti Ultimate Boss by yourself with this pretty much, as long as your teammates aren't stealing stealing the hammer thing from you. But, and then Last Ditch is kind of like in Ops Mode. If you use Reload Gatling correctly, you're pretty much never going to be shooting your P cannon anyway, but this is pretty good if you don't, you know what I mean? You're like, oh, I don't really want to cheese anymore with that. And then Vampiric, which you pretty much always want to use this, especially with the DPS characters. You can get health by vanquishing a hero. So essentially, with this character, you can literally just sit there by the base and not move and not have to reuse any abilities the whole the whole time. So this is definitely an S+ tier character, best one in the game for Ops Mode with this setup. If you're not using Reload Gatling, it's still a really good character, but if you're not using Reload Gatling, I mean, what are you doing, bro? It's literally 2 points. Come on, man. Alright, and then the next one, we got Chomper, which I recently got to max level. Now, Chomper is the best character for the Yeti boss, which is the hardest boss in Ops Mode, like the ultimate version. With this right here is definitely the one you want to use for that if you can, you know, predict it. But Chomper's definitely an S+ tier character as well in Ops Mode. For sure, for sure. Because you can just pick this character, you don't got to worry about your teammates being trash. Because sometimes, trust me, in Ops Mode, sometimes those suckers are crazy stupid. But the ones you want to use here are Vampiric, because you're going to be in the middle of a ton of zombies, vanquish those heroes, get that health back, and then Mastication, which, you know, pretty obvious choice right there. So you have less downtime, because you're probably going to be burrowing into the middle of a bunch of people now. More zombies. Alright, now this guy, I'm not gonna lie, he's pretty trash. Like, compared to all the other DPS characters, the Corn Cob is easily the most trash one. His DPS, his damage is like really trash, pretty awful. His abilities take hella long to come back, and they don't really do good damage to compensate for that. But he's still fun to play, though. You know what I mean? It's the type of character where he's trash, but it's still fun to play. Only problem is if you're playing this guy and your teammates are trash or bad at all, yeah, you're gonna have a tough time, especially if the game throws some crazy bosses at you. But I mean, something's got to be the worst of each group. You know what I mean? So Corn Cob's definitely the worst attacking character. Okay, now Nightcap, even though they nerfed, because if y'all don't remember, when this game first came out, the triangle ability, if you were playing the multiplayer, yeah, like, no matter what zombie you were, if this thing came up to you and hit the triangle on you, yeah, you're dead. but it's still really good in ops mode too. Um, they did change this ability right here, piercing power. It used to be if you were hitting multiple enemies, it just wouldn't take ammo out of your magazine. But now it's changed a little bit, so you have to like do hits multiple enemies, and then when you reload, you get 60 in the mag. But it's still really, really good because you can. This is the best crowd control cleanup character for ops mode, plant wise for sure, for sure. And then fearless, which this just helps if you're typically not in near the enemies with this character too much, but this perk definitely helps a lot too. And then this right here, gain Shadow Sneak Charge by earning a Vanquish. In Ops mode, this goes crazy because, as you can see, it's just a Vanquish. So you can kill any zombie, it doesn't have to be, you know what I mean? It can be a brown coat one or a regular one, doesn't matter. And boom, you get your Sneak Charge back. So you can essentially just stay invisible the entire time. So this is definitely an S plus character as well. I'll give the core. I didn't read this sucker. I'll give him a B, but just because he's just trash, man. Like now, right here, Snapdragon used to be like before I discovered how crazy Reload Gatling was. This guy was my favorite character for sure, for Ops mode. His perks aren't like they're not really that crazy. You know what I mean? Like reducing the overheat, that's pretty good. Just ups your DPS a little bit, and then Vampiric as usual. But because his abilities, well, his main ability for Ops mode is the one that Engulf is boosting right here. Yeah, Blazing Trail is just so good. It just like hard carries everything except he's not the greatest DPS against bosses, which is why I would like overall I'd probably say he's S instead of S plus rank because like Chomper and Pea Shooter are really good against the bosses as well. Well, like honestly, like overall, I guess I might have to knock Chomper down to S as well alongside Snapdragon, just because Pea Shooter just annihilates any boss in the game, and Chomper's really just like he does really good against all the bosses, but he does really only accelerate at the Yeti boss, which I'm just basing it off that just because that's the toughest boss in the game, especially when your teammates are stupid. See, Cactus. Alright, Cactus normally is trash, but with this setup, he's, or she, I don't know, is a low-key underrated for Ops mode. Because you have, okay, well, Refreshing Revive is just there because you have an extra point left over. But, Pressure Point, randomly enemies explode when earning a critical vanquish. Unfortunately, you see how it says randomly? This doesn't proc 100% of the time, but I'd say it's probably about 85, 90%. Not sure the actual percentage, but this is really good because it gives you crazy AoE on the weaker zombies. And then Popcorn randomly creates potato mines near enemies if vanquished by max charge. Spike Shot, which is the sniper. Which this, in Ops mode, it is really good, but it doesn't really come into play as much as you would think, just because this ability, Pressure Point, kind of, you know what I mean, mogs everything. But yeah, I'll give Cactus an A, but with this setup, only problem is with teammates. Yeah, if your teammates are trash, you're gonna have a real tough time as Cactus sometimes, just depending on what's thrown your way. Citron, now Citron has really good survivability, but yeah, his damage is trash, and his EMP ability is useless in Ops mode. because to kill the mechs, which rarely spawn anyway, you have to actually just get rid of their health. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't force the imps out of it. But he has a really good survivability. You definitely want health regeneration and health regen delay. Along with his shield, you're basically invincible unless you're completely stupid. And then Juiced is really nice against the bosses, and also kind of, it's a pretty decent AoE attack. It just makes sure when you use this ability, it always deals crit damage, so you don't have to worry about aiming for the head or anything. So you can shoot bosses in the back and still do pretty good damage. So, but yeah, overall his damage is trash. I'd say he's also B tier, along with Cactus. He has, well, I'll give him a B plus tier, just because his survivability is way better than Cactus. But then we have the godlike defender, Acorn, which the damage of the Acorn when you're not in tree mode is high-key underrated. I can't lie to you. Plus, having the health regen delay and health regen perk on the Acorn, because the perks aren't separate between Acorn and tree, is actually really nice. Because you're basically, you know what I mean, essentially invincible for the most part. Especially when you're in tree mode. But yeah, those, and then his perks aren't like that crazy. But like knock enemies away, that's pretty good. Especially if your teammates are stupid, you can kinda, you know, keep a lot of the zombies away from the base by yourself. And then, oh yeah, that's all the one. Wait, what was, oh yeah, the refresh and revive. That's just a one pointer. So, but yeah, definitely give, well, in terms of like overall, since it's a defensive character, I would give it an S plus. It's definitely the best defensive character in the game, between zombies or plants. But well, I guess unless you count the imp and his mech as one. But yeah, definitely recommend this character if you're trying to, you know, just stand there and you know what I mean. Like, I guess if you're a new player and you're, because you get the health regen delay perk and the health regen perk pretty early, I'm pretty sure. So just slap those on, you're good to go. Now right here, Sunflower. As some of y'all may know, Sunflower used to be my favorite character in the game, but then they nerfed her, unfortunately. It's still really good for this mode, but like recharge, gaining, it's not as good as the pea shooter one, because the pea shooter one is just hitting enemies in the head, you get the, you know what I mean, but with this one you can essentially more or less last the entire round rooted, unless it's the boss round. And then shove, this is to keep enemies away from the base and also off of you if you're trying to run away, which it's more of a, I guess, kind of a troll one to knock the enemies off the edge and stuff, but it is really good. And then this right here, no, not that one. And this one right here, where's the, I can't remember, oh yeah, Blossom. See, this one right here used to, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3. I feel like it was only 2. But it could have been 3. Can branch out and heal an additional ally. See, this ability, before they nerfed it, 1, it was only 2 or 3 points instead of 5. And also, it could heal yourself, too, instead of 2 allies. So, if you're only off with 1 other person, you can keep yourself healed, which in ops mode, the healing, except against bosses, it's not really that necessary. But pocket protection is way better, in my opinion anyway, because it's essentially what Blossom used to be, but only 2 points and you can heal yourself. Now, obviously it's not going to heal 2 allies at the same time, but it's healing yourself, which is more important because other people are idiots on this game sometimes. So, but yeah, see, it's a shame they nerfed Blossom. I'm sure it was crazy in multiplayer. But see, whenever you see other sunflowers in ops mode nowadays, these idiots are using blossoms. Like, come on, bro. You can't be that stupid. Use pocket protection, bro. Pocket protection feels crazy. Now, see, the thing would be, I would probably, if Blossom was 4 points instead of 5, I would probably forego using recharge and shove just to, you know what I mean, just combine that with pocket protection. Then bada bing, bada boom, you could heal 3 people at, you know what I mean, at once. But yeah, it is. And see, when they changed it, unfortunately, they eventually caught up to it, where it used to, if you had it on your character before they made the update, you would still have it, and it would still only be 2 or 3 points, however many it was. But they eventually caught up to that, and then, but yeah, I would still say, because it's definitely the best support character in the game, it's definitely better than the scientist, even with the steam gun. So definitely an S plus character in terms of support. Rose in ops mode, I'm sorry, bro. Like, it's trash. If your if your teammates are trash in any manner whatsoever, you're going to get steamrolled by, you know what I mean? But, I mean, as long as your teammates are mediocre, you don't really have that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. But, because its abilities are pretty trash. Although, this, like, it's pretty decent survivability. This one is just, you know, an obvious choice. And then Epiphany just, basically keeps you alive. You can just spam the triangle button if you need to get away from enemies. And see, this one, it's just trash. I've tried it multiple times. It's really just not good, bro. I can't lie to you. You might as well just stay with your regular attack and keep the survivability of Epiphany. And then Swarm. See, my Swarm, I believe, is still glitched. Yeah. Where flower food, for some reason, is glitched and still locked. But, because I'm not 100% sure, I'm pretty sure flower food is just more, well, actually, I don't know. Because I would assume it's the same thing as the zombie version of Swarm, where you can shoot 2 projectiles with your ability, but... And then Critical Blow, you can get your abilities back quicker, and then more ammo. So, the Swarm character, I'm sure it would be aged in multiplayer if there were a lot of them, but it's not really the best, especially if your teammates are trash. But if you play your cards right, I'd give it a B ranking. Well, I don't know, I might have to put it, I guess, did I rank the Rose? The Rose is definitely bottom, like, absolute dog shit F tier. I can't lie to you. It's fun to play as if your teammates are good, but then Swarm, I guess I'll put Swarm in D tier. Slightly above Rose, like, because it can, well, the Rose, I don't know. I guess we'll put them both in D tier. Neither of them are really so bad that you gotta put that junk in F tier, bro. But, I talk about an F tier character right here. The Foot Soldier. Now, this character used to go crazy in the first 2 games, and in this one, they've really just put him in the dirt. It's kind of sad. But, because his abilities just like, oh, more ammo, And then you can keep enemies off of the point in ops mode, but the problem with this guy is his abilities don't do enough damage, and they take forever to come back, and his gun damage is trash. He's definitely the... well... yeah, he's definitely the lowest DPS out of all the zombies. For sure, for sure. Especially considering his abilities. I don't know, man. Do I have to put him... should I put him in D tier? Or sure, I think I'm gonna put Foot Soldier in F tier, to be honest with you, bro. He's just trash. Like, I would rather play as the Swarm with trash teammates. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Alright, Imp, right here, Godlike S plus tier with this perk setup anyway. For sure, for sure. 100% mech uptime. Gain mech health and fuel. That's important. You get health and fuel when you damage enemies with Bionic Bash. And that ability comes back really quick too. And the Mech Hunter, which when you're first starting out of your mech, or when it forces you out of your mech when there's a super boss, you can just get it back way quicker. So, but yeah, Energize, 100% mech uptime, and really good for bosses. If your teammates are trash, you can still kill the ultimate squash boss with this guy pretty easy. So definitely S plus tier. If you're not using Energize on this character, like, what are you doing, bro? Come on. Alright, Super Brains. This is low-key my favorite zombie to play as in Ops mode, at least right now. But I would say he's A tier. He's definitely not as good as the Imp, especially against bosses. But his fists do heal him a little bit when he's up in personal. So yeah, but then hero moment, you just get overhealth back when, you jump in the air, boom, land in a bunch of enemies, gives you extra health so you can, you know what I mean, especially if you accidentally land on a tater mine. And see, this right here is actually, it's a fun trolley thing. I might actually put this back on this character, because it's pretty good damage. But Hero's Moment is just, you know what I mean, can keep you alive way better. But yeah, definitely an A tier character, not as good as Imp. 80s action hero, see this guy, he can be really good, but he's also has high potential to be trash. The only real perk that's, well, vampiric as usual, that's relevant is Free Ride, because he has a really, really high AoE potential, but sometimes you get screwed over. And the Free Ride it doesn't pan out like you want it to. So and he's not really that good against bosses. So I would definitely say he's C tier. He's definitely below Super Brains, but he has potential to be S tier against mobs, I guess. So, but yeah, definitely C tier. Definitely, overall, he's not as good as Super Brains. And then Electric Slide, definitely one of my favorite zombies to play as, just because of the trolley, I don't even remember what the ability is called, the Funky Bouncer, because only on the ops maps where there's an edge, like right there, some of them don't have edges, but you can throw hella enemies off the edge and insta-give them with that. Unfortunately, there's no way to knock bosses back, which would be funny if you could not do that, but yeah, then if you use Cooling Sparks, it's really, really good AoE damage, and Cooling Sparks is the perk that gives you your tornado back quicker when you get kills with it. So you can it doesn't like instantly give you the cooldown, So it's not like it's gonna, you use it, you get like 5 kills with it, and then it instantly comes back. It takes a little bit to, you know, give you the bonus, but yeah, definitely. Well, if it's a map where you can throw enemies off the edge, it's definitely an S plus character. If it's not, I'd lower it to an A character. But if your teammates are trash, this character is really good at keeping the enemies off of the base. So, just overall, like if your teammates are trash, that's your main focus with the character is to keep stuff off the base. But then if you get certain boss rolls, yeah, it might be a little crazy. Right here, alright, so this guy right here is low-key underrated, but also trash at the same time. Because he has good survivability there with the regen delay and regen perk. And then freebie, it's not the best. It's not as good as the cactus, that's for sure. Oops. But gain ammo when vanquishing an enemy at max charge, which you have to vanquish an enemy with it, and he can't really one-shot anything except regular plants, like the little weeds. So it's not, you know what I mean? He's not the greatest, because he doesn't have any AoE, like with the cactus explosion perk. So, I don't know, I guess I have to put him in C tier, I guess. The same tier I put this guy in. So, All-Star has really good survivability. With Starch Struck, you can fling enemies off of the base, but it's not really the best keep him off the base ability, and his damage with his minigun is pretty trash. But, if your teammates are smart, really good survivability. So if you have seconds going down, you know, you don't have to worry about dying at all yourself. But, I mean, I'll give him a B, because he's definitely a better defender than Captain Deadbeard, that's for sure. But right here, here's the #1 zombie defender. Now, I would still say the tree is better, but, like, honestly, I might have to, I would say this character, not an S plus character, but an S, strictly because you can kind of get screwed over with the assimilation perk. If, you know, the enemies are kind of far apart, or sometimes it doesn't, like, if the bar for it is really low, and you get a kill with it, it still deactivates it instead of refilling it. But, yeah, you're basically, this is another invincible character, more or less. And then this right here vanquishes with Crater Maker, increases duration. Crater Maker is really good damage, especially, like, if you can wombo combo it on a boss, you can do hella damage against bosses. Only problem is you need ads near enough to the boss where you can kill him to refresh it. But, in theory, you can kill a regular boss, with one use of assimilation, or one use of the, what was it, something crater Maker, yeah. In theory, anyway. But, now Scientist without Steam Blaster is absolute bottom tier. Don't, like, if you don't have Steam Blaster, do not bother using Scientist. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Just don't bother with it. You're just gonna bring your team down in ops mode. But, if you do have Steam Blaster, it's crazy AoE damage, bro. Like, honestly, because it's just your weapon, it's easily the best weapon in the game. Like, honestly, like, let me think. Let me look it over here. Well, actually, low-key, Nightcap and Snapdragon, their attacks are probably better. But, other than that, and the fact you have to get in close, but yeah, Steam Blaster, just slap that on. Then CPR is just, if enemies are low health, or enemies, if teammates are low health, you can Yeah, it heals him quicker, but yeah, Steam Blaster goes crazy, bro. And then Engineer can be really, really good if your teammates, you know, have IQs above 80 and they know that his turret auto refills their ammo, so you have to reload less and lets them shoot faster. Like, if you have an Engineer and your teammates are smart, yeah, GG. But his perks are pretty, they're not like the craziest. Like, Seismic is just so you can sprint through packs of enemies if you need to. Hydraulics, this is just kind of, you know, I guess wombo combo with Seismic, because he doesn't really have any interest in here, like extends range of the heavy helper combat buff, but Engineer, his main thing is to stay near the base, have his turret up, and then just absolutely wreck everything with your bonus fire rate. And because if you're playing as the Engineer and you're by your turret, the ammo feeding perk, well not perk, but like the natural ability of the turret, you never have to reload. So yeah, definitely if your teammates are intelligent, this could be an S plus tier character. But just by himself, I'd probably say he's A because his damage isn't. It's pretty good AoE damage, but like direct against bigger enemies or bosses, it's not really that good. And then a lot of the bosses absolutely just wreck his turret instantly. So there is that issue. But if your teammates are smart enough to keep him away from it, but that never happens. So Wizard. Now Wizard. I think the only nerf they ever brought to Wizard was that his XP gain from kills while in orb mode was lowered. Because when it first came out, I like maxed him out in like a couple hours because you could get crazy XP. It was like 100. I think it was like 100 XP per kill on any mob in that mode. But he's still, well, if your teammate, see, the problem with the Wizard, he's more or less totally reliant on teammates not being stupid. But if your teammates are smart, he's an S plus tier character for sure, for sure. Because, well, this is just kind of a gimmicky one because it's 1 point. The Elder Alchemist can keep you and the person you're on as an orb alive, especially if they're stupid enough to wander right onto a potato line. But, and it actually starts regenerating their health because without this perk, it's kind of useless because it makes the person invincible for like a second and a half. But and then Two-Headed Dragon is the must-use perk. Extend co-star duration when you or your ally carrier earns a vanquish, which you can stay in co-star mode permanently, pretty much. Even you don't even have to get off your teammate at the end of a round, pretty much, as long as they're smart enough to go towards the enemies when it's because a lot of people aren't smart enough to go towards the enemies, so the wizard can use his AoE ability. But and he's not too bad while not in orb mode, but his DPS is more. Well, he can shoot the big orb for AoE damage, but it's more single target focused. So if there's a lot of enemies, yeah, you better hope your whatever the ability is called is up. What is it called? Spell disaster. But it's not the greatest damage wise, but it can get you out of a pickle. And then the last one, Swarm, I would, because I don't know if the thing that's glitched on this one for me is the same thing as Dinner for Two, but because Dinner for Two doubles the damage, well, if they both hit, anyway. Let you throw 2 overheated dinners, and each overheated dinner does 75 damage, so you can one-hit pretty much anything that's not a citron or tree. I'm pretty sure. I'm not, actually, it might not, I don't remember how much health everything has, I'm not gonna check. But, yeah, pretty good for ops mode. You can, as long as your teammates are not complete morons, you can get by using TV head pretty much anytime. But and the zero chill ability is just because in ops mode the enemies basically like aimbot the Yeti imp a lot of the time, so you got to get it there to spam it and blow it up. But honestly, I would give, if you play your cards right, I would give the imp a B, but he's more like a C, or and then like total F tier if your teammates aren't that good. But yeah, these are all the best perks. Um, I don't know how long the stream was, but yeah, I just want to do this real quick. So yeah, I'm gonna end the stream.